And when I talk about movies in today's world, it's not necessarily I went to the theater or the cinema to watch it. Now we got like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. So this list also has movies from those TVs as well. Okay, so let's start with Batman. I did a review this early this year, and I was actually saying, is it my favorite Batman, and how was Robert Pattinson? Plus, if you do, please do check that review. I won't go into too much detail. Like I said, I don't want to make this an hour long. I liked it. I really, really liked it. You know, I said one thing about in my review was that finally they got Batman to do some detective work. I mean, Batman's also known as the world's greatest detective, so it's great that they got him to do some of that detective work. So hopefully, looking forward to part two if they do one. So definitely check that out. Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise, uh, biggest film of last year, 1.5, nearly 1.6 billion dollars. Big fan of Tom Cruise. Did a video about him as a couple years ago, nearly 2 years ago, as probably being the only movie star today, really, that still can sell a movie with his name attached to it. Top Gun was like a good 30 plus years from the first movie. Did a review about this. Star, loved it. I loved the dogfights, just amazing. And none of that kind of woke stuff, identity politics, straightforward, in your face, good old fashioned fun. I remember saying in my review, you can put this in an 80s, 90s movie and it still blends in quite well. Brad Pitt's Bullet Train. This one was a surprise. I did a review about this as well. Saw the trailer, and I said in my review, this kind of harks back to the mid to late 80s. It's the mid to late 90s. Sorry, where movies was really dialogue driven. I like the way they spoke. There was a sense of humor to it and a sense of danger. And this kind of reminds me of that kind of genre of that period of time. I think it's because everybody's kind of hyped for kind of the Tarantino movies and everybody started making films really dialogue driven. And I think this was a great film. I'd give it a thumbs up. Moving on to Elvis. I didn't watch this the first week because I never cared too much about Elvis or biopics or anything like that. It kind of bores me. Like yeah, we know about Elvis story and so on. Remember the actor, it's Austin, yeah, Austin. He, interviews and he's still having that. I don't know if he was just doing it but naturally. He was like in character still, like speaking like Elvis. That kind of put me off a little bit. But my friend was saying you need to watch it. You need to watch. So had time, watched it a few weeks after. You know what? It was actually really good. Unfortunately, I didn't do a review because I was pretty late watching it, so it's a thumbs up. Really did like it, so definitely check that out. The Northman. Um, always like these kind of movies. Like they don't make as much they do as they did in the early 2000s, late 90s. Especially when after the Gladiator, Russell Crowe came out, there was so many studios trying to bank on that kind of movies. So this is a great movie. I won't say great was not bad. I mean, it's just I won't go into it, but some scenes I felt could have been a little bit different. Some bits were dragging along, but it was not a bad film. Nope. I did a review about this. I quite like Jordan Peele films. I think this is his third ones. He's very good at low budget films. Nothing wild, nothing like this. And I'm a big science fiction nerd myself. I love all that kind of alien abduction type of movies. And also having Stephen Yeun in there is always great as well. Big fan of his. So it's not a bad film. It's definitely worth watching. And now it goes into the kind of bigger summer movies, I suppose. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I actually like this. I don't know. I know people, it's a bit controversial. I actually prefer this over the first Doctor Strange. Uh, of course, there was a few questionable plot holes and so on. One of my favorites is I actually like the inclusion of Scarlet Witch as the kind of main bad guy, or the villain. And I've always said that Scarlet Witch in the MCU hasn't been initialized correctly. She should be. probably one of the most powerful characters, especially if you read the comics after when Strange kind of trained her up, really kind of made her use her powers a lot more. I'm glad they really focus on how powerful Wanda is. And Wanda in the comics, she's not stable. She's always like flipping back and forth. So I like that aspect of it. But at the same time, I gave it not bad. You would think I gave it thumbs up because I watched it the second time afterwards, and then as much as I liked it the first time, the second time kind of I start seeing the plot holes, and so that's why I'm giving it a not bad now. Jurassic World, uh, Dominion. Watching the trailer, really enjoyed the trailer. I'm happy I was so looking forward to it because I actually liked the last two Jurassic World fun movies. Nothing special, nothing like Oscar performance or anything like that. And it was just great to see the original cast back. And watching it, disappointed. I don't know. I did a review of this. I didn't know where it was going. It just felt like it was a totally different film than the other two Jurassic Worlds, and it also felt like out of place if you look at the whole Jurassic Park collection or series. I don't know. Just some bit just bored me. I felt. I don't know. Just some of the storylines I was going for just didn't hit me on this one, so I was really disappointed. It wasn't bad as in bad, but it wasn't. Wasn't even good. And then Thor: Love and Thunder. This one, I was touting it to be Thor's or Chris Hemsworth's first billion-dollar movie, or Marvel's MCU's first billion-dollar movie of that year, of last year. And how wrong I was. I did a review on this. Chris Hemsworth from part 1, 2, and 3, especially in the third one, definitely starts showing his comedic timing. I think Chris Hemsworth is a funny guy. Yeah, he's got that really good timing, and all of them were kind of just enough. The third one pushed it a little bit further with the comedy, but it knew when to kind of hold back and become serious and focus more on the plot and so on. But this one just, for Chris Hemsworth, it wasn't even funny. I give it a thumbs down. It was goofy. I've always liked Thor as a superhero in the comics. I like Chris Hemsworth. I actually still want him to be Thor. I think he's the perfect Thor, to be honest. I hope they kind of still maintain his sense of humor, of course, definitely. I kind of put it back because it's funny and it's goofy, and I feel this one was goofy and didn't make $1 billion. Was it 700 million? So there you go. Black Adam, starring The Rock, which if you follow the story, it's been coming up and down, back and forth. I thought it was okay. Nothing special. It's not a bad film. Loved the post-credit scene with Henry Cavill Superman, which I was hoping for a kind of like Shazam, Black Adam, and Superman kind of triangle versus or something like that, or then they team up to fight a greater evil. But of course, all the hopes got dashed once James Gunn and the other guy took over and literally got rid of Henry Cavill. I did a video of that as well. Please check it out. So it's not a bad film. Black Adam, I don't think we're going to see The Rock back in DC anytime soon. And moving on. Uncharted signed Tom Holland. When they announced he was going to be Nate, I was like, really? I know that I like Tom Holland. I mean, Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. The last one made so much money. I think that's probably the reason why they got him, especially he's so popular with that kind of audience. Mark Wahlberg, he's a solid actor, but nothing special. Watched it, not the first week, second or third week. Nothing else to watch that time, so to me it was thumbs down. I'm still waiting for them to make a really good video game movie. And there's one here that's good. But I'm talking about more series that everybody and the studios take seriously based on the video game. Unfortunately, Uncharted is not. Excuse me. Prey, Predator on Hulu. So I watched the trailer. I thought it was great. Always wanted kind of like a Predator movie to go back into certain periods of time and focus on certain periods of people tribes and so on. And I even said to my friend, I did a review of this as well. Please check that out if you can. I said to my friends before, back in the 90s when Dark Horse was doing all these comics, I was like, I would love to see them make a film about samurais and Native Americans, the Knights Templar kind of period, you know. So I'm glad they started off with a Native America. It would be good. That was great. But I think it was a good film. It was definitely overrated. There was a couple of things. If you watch my video, there's a few questionable things, that especially the ending. He could have done better. The questionable things that the Predator did at the end that he didn't do throughout the whole film, and then suddenly it became a bit dumb. I felt the ending definitely overrated, but it's still pretty good, solid TV movie. Production value, like I said, the cinematography was great. I loved the native setting. It was not bad. The Grey Man on Netflix. This is, I think, Netflix's biggest budget movie by the Russo brothers. The casting great. Always like Ryan Gosling. Big fan of Chris Evans, who plays a bad guy. I actually like Chris Evans. I think he stole the show. I did a video on this as well. It was a great movie, good action. What I give it? I gave it a not bad film because I don't know. I think it's just me at the moment where, as much as the budget was there, TV movies has the same kind of production value as cinema movies, but somehow maybe I'm just watching at home on my 55-inch TV. Probably didn't give you that kind of a immersion, but it still kind of looks like a TV movie, if you know what I mean. Even though it's a bloody good, top quality TV movie, but it still felt like it wasn't a theatre experience. Like I say, probably just because I'm at home, that's why. And Sandra Bullock's The Lost City. Sandra Bullock is one of those. I didn't do a review of this. I don't think I did, didn't I? One of those actresses where, how to say it? I'm not a big fan of hers, but I don't dislike her. There's some actresses out there you just can't stand. And Jennifer Lawrence, who apparently she started everything, or Brie Larson, who I don't know, just hates white men or something like that. But Sandra Bullock is one of those actresses. She just doesn't really have much controversy about her. I think she's intelligent enough to kind of like know what she's good at, and she's a really funny actress as well. So that's why most of her films have that comedy element. And I watched the trailer for that. I thought even the trailer was some really good dialogue. And Channing Tatum, always thought he was a funny guy. Watched this. I give it a thumbs up. I actually liked it. And the inclusion of Daniel Radcliffe, I thought he was really good in that as well. And cameo by Brad Pitt. I thought this was a funny movie. It has a lot of heart to it. So I gave it. I really liked it. So definitely check it out. So next one, The Woman King. Viola Davis. I only watched this because I wanted to see the historical inaccuracy about this. I wanted to talk to a couple of friends of mine, right, and watch this. I actually watched this. Before I watched it, I actually did some Googling and studied on the actual history about this because there's lots of YouTube channels talking about how inaccurate it was. My God, even if I didn't know the actual history behind it, this film was so bad. I hated it. I literally hated it. Some people may call me racist. I don't like black people. Whatever, man. You can call me whatever you want, but I'm not. And the inaccuracy of the historical facts is just mind-boggling. I don't know how studios actually got away with something like this. Not only just the woke agenda, the diverse agenda, just everything about this was just wrong. It just annoyed me, really. So, the first poo of the day. I do the funny thing is I actually would recommend you to watch it just to see how bad it was and how inaccurate things are and how not to make a film if you were thinking of becoming a filmmaker. Next up, Nicolas Cage, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I did a review of this. I've always liked Nicolas Cage. Back in the 80s to the 90s, he had a string of amazing films. Raising Arizona, one of my favorites. The action trilogy from The Rock, Con Air to Face Off. Amazing. He was like near the top of his game back in the late 80s to the 90s. And then he just kind of swayed away, disappeared. You know, and watching this made me laugh because he kind of plays himself, and it's funny, it's witty, the dialogue's great. I really liked it. So Nicolas Cage kind of back on form for a bit. Really good, thumbs up. Sonic 2, did a review on it. Please check it out. Like the first one. The first one was a pleasant surprise, and it just goes to show you, I think, that if the studio actually listens to the fans, it will actually do some money and do some good. If you everybody remember the very first trailer for the first movie, Sonic the Hedgehog looked like, I don't know what he looked like. He looked like I don't know, like a blue Bigfoot or something like that. Something that kids would probably have nightmares over. And then of course the petition and the outcry for changes, and they delayed it and they actually changed Sonic to more what he's supposed to look like. And what happened? The first one was a success. Hence Sonic 2, and I enjoyed Sonic 2. So now Sonic 3. I've always said this. I always think that I've never been a big fan of Jim Carrey, but I liked him as Dr. Eggman in both shows. I think he steals the show for both of them. Sonic is your usual hero, happy-go-lucky teenage hero, but I think Dr. Eggman steals the show. And I'm looking forward to the third one. That is a good way for studios to learn. Listen to your fans. They're the one who grew up with this franchise, this IP. They know what they're looking for. And they're the one who's going to pay money for not just watching this movie once, twice, 3 times. They're going to buy the franchises. And you get them. They're going to stick around for the third and fourth movie, etc. A thumbs up for me. Okay, Lightyear. I didn't really watch much animation this year, but I watched this because, again, a friend of mine asked me to come along with him. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And, of course, Chris Evans voiced it. I don't really know the backstory, wasn't interested. They did get Tim Allen to voice Lightyear again. And, of course, I heard about all the woke agenda behind it. And poop. Even if they didn't have all that, the agenda and the diversity, whatever you want to call it, I just felt the film animation was just boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm so used to seeing Buzz Lightyear as a toy in the first 4 movies, and I think Tim Allen, is it Tim Allen? I hope I got his name right. He's kind of so iconic. Just not hearing his voice is quite jarring. I don't know, it's weird. I don't get me wrong, I love Chris. He's a fantastic actor, but I just don't see him as Buzz Lightyear. And only that, like I said, you take away all that woke stuff, the film was just boring. It was really boring. Okay, Ambulance, let's go on. Michael Bay TV movie. It has the usual Michael Bay action, fast-paced, chasing, and I don't know what Michael Bay was doing. There's a few scenes where he actually, imagine me, lucky this wasn't in the cinema. I would have got motion sickness because the camera's like moving up and down. This scene where he would get the camera to dive down the building and then fly across the streets. He did that so many times. I was watching at home. I was getting motion sickness. Imagine watching in a bigger screen in the cinema. Thumbs down. There's a couple of good action scenes, typical Michael Bay. It's a shame, got some pretty good actors in there. But hey, this is Michael Bay for you. And then you got Smile. Sorry about that. I hear someone talking in the background. It's in another room. My sister is, I think my sister is in. She's talking to someone in the background. Sorry, you hear the voice. Sorry about that. Horror film, Smile. I saw the trailer for this, and it got me. I've never been a big horror fan. I don't mind odd horror here and there, but I've never been like this my number one genre. But when I saw the trailer, it was like he had that, that kind of eeriness about it. A lot of horror films in this day and age is lost. And I watched it. I actually thought it's not bad. It's when I was watching it, I wouldn't say it did. Some parts was quite, got me. But if anything, it made me uncomfortable. I loved the sound design. Some of the sounds were like, wow, he actually really enhanced the atmosphere. And it really got me. Yeah, so I was actually really uncomfortable watching it. And I think that was the purpose. So yeah, I know this film, they're going to make a sequel and another sequel, probably going to ruin the whole thing. But I actually thought it was pretty good. Like I said, I'm not a horror fan, so I probably won't watch this again. But telling you, watch it at night, you will probably watch it with your headphones on. The sound design really good. It actually made me feel uncomfortable watching in the cinema. So great work, guys.